Well, hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Call It Crew. This one makes me nervous.
Oh, I was going to say we're talking about one of your favorite subjects,
It is,
chlamydia. No, just
which is why I'm nervous.
so nervous.
No, I'm nervous because we're gonna be talking about something that I had never done before. Had you done this before?
Well, here's the funny thing. Well, I'm just going to call it. We're talking about
Yes.
astrology. And I had a friend reach out and say, "Oh my gosh, I'm with this astrologist who's so phenomenal. She works with her twin sister and she's nearby. And would you want to do a reading?" And I said, yeah. And so she came over to my house and she walked in and she's so lovely. And she said, you won't remember, but we've met. And I was like, we have. And of course, I always get embarrassed because I'm like, oh, do I not remember? What are you talking about? It was like 20 years ago. So, really, like when I just started acting and just moved out to Los Angeles, she did a reading for me.
She told me.
What?
She told me that she thinks she met you at an Emmy
Yeah, it
party,
was like an
a
Emmy
million.
suite where they were
It was like a
doing.
suite where they were doing it, and she met you then. And then Jessica introduced me to her. You know what's funny is I was already following them on Instagram,
Oh, that's funny.
the Astro Twins.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, because you've listened to us now a million times, we talk about our signs a lot.
Yep.
However, I have never done a deep dive into my sign
Well, because it's your whole chart.
chart. It's your whole chart. I have never had my chart done. And we're going to be sharing how you do that, what it kind of all means. And we're going to be sharing a little bit about our charts, which was so crazy and wild.
So cool. And by the way, when she came over, she brought she and her sister published these incredible books that are very
Yes.
specific to your sign. So you've got like the Leo, like a year for a Leo 2024,
Yes.
and then just astrology for the year. And by the way, they're so beautiful. I mean, that's a coffee table book for me. I'd put that out there anywhere.
Yes.
But I actually ended up looking at it a bunch when after she did my chart, and then like the next 3 or 4 weeks, I ended up just sort of referring to it, and I thought it was really, really interesting. Also, I mean, this does not mean this is not a naysaying thing about astrology, but I did find that after like 2 weeks, I would be like, well, if there was a question, I'd be like, well, let me consult the book. I'm like, wait a second, hold on, we're not consulting books about
I
what
know.
to do.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
This isn't the Oracle. We haven't lost all sense of who we are.
Yes. Yes. I think,
Um,
though, I think that what struck me is I grew up not reading horoscopes, right? Like I was not someone that read my horoscope. And then just learning more about science a little bit, I was like, oh, I see how this could be true. And but when I had my chart done, oh, there was a moment where she was doing it where it really took my breath away, which I'll share with you. I haven't even told Jessica, so she's gonna
ah,
hear it with you guys. But no, it was a wild experience, actually. I found it to be a very wild experience. So Jess, should we bring Ovi in to tell our listeners all the things about the stars?
yes, we should. So for those who are fans of astrology, understanding what, how, and where it is to be found in your life, you are in for a treat.
Hi.
Oh my goodness. We just were talking about you, and I was telling everyone that after you gave me the beautiful books, which, is the astrology for the year for all, and then the one that was specific to me as Leo, I
Yes.
was just poring over them. I couldn't get enough. I was like, I mean,
Well, good.
it's an amazing, amazing, amazing resource, source of fun. I really just really enjoyed them. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm so glad
Yes,
you
and I
like
was
it.
telling Jess that I was gonna call her after we did our chart, right? And I didn't because I there were a couple things you already know that I was like really blown away about. And I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna save it for the pod for the listeners for Jess to hear for the first time because
Ooh.
I didn't know what I was in for, and it really just took my breath away.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, then I feel like we have to start with you, even though we did me first.
Well, I think we should start by just talking about what it is, because I really went into this reading not understanding what
true.
reading your chart even was.
Right. And by the way, my sister's going to come on too. So keep an eye
she
out
is.
for her entry. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh, there she is. Okay. This is Tolly, her doppelganger. We have the same voice. And it'll be weird for a minute, but here we are.
I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's actually super cool. To me, you guys are like Wonder Twins unite. It's like super, super pure. You're like super pure
twins.
people. Super twins.
We'll take it. We're all meeting each other's other half, so
exactly.
Good times.
It's true. Self-admittedly, my journey with astrology began as the daughter of a woman who read magazines. Right. So it was just like every month you'd get the magazine and you take your little finger and get to your sign and then you read it and it would be like the oracle spoke. Right. You're like, oh, and it was always funny because the magazine obviously comes out before the month. And I remember a couple of times there are some astrologists, and it must be a real balancing act, which we'll get to, at some point. It's like whether your stars look, positive or negative for that month.
Yeah.
Which we all know, we can do hard things and you gotta have some shit to get to the good stuff. So it's not a bad thing, but sometimes I'm imagining you have, people who come to you that are not so excited to hear about that. But yeah, I remember reading them sometimes and I'd be like, well, that's not a good month. This is going to be terrible. Can we skip to the next month?
Totally.
And then I think as I grew up, more and more, I am a Leo, so this makes sense that I would just sort of get deeper and deeper into it. And then there's a couple good old reliable books that have been in my life where when you look up who you are, they all sort of the traits make sense. And so I always think it's like, in my life, it's been equal parts like wonder, awe, and self-discovery at the same time that it's been sort of frivolous and playful and like, I don't know, just another little piece, nothing that wasn't necessarily like super important. And totally. I think that that's, something that happens, but I have a Sagittarius partner who talks about her Sagittarianism.
It's an ism.
Yes. And you guys are Sag too, right?
We are, December 2nd. Mm-hmm.
Sag in the house, Sag in the house.
Wow. 3-1 people. 3-1.
You are welcome. No, I think I've just leaned way more into it in my adult life. I think that I'm just way more open in my adult life to sort of listening to all those, to kind of everything a little bit. And, but again, I really didn't know what reading someone's chart involved or how you even read it. So for people like me listening, how would you describe how this happens?
Yeah, definitely. And totally hear you on the magazines, because that's how we started too. Like when we were teenagers, we'd flip to the back of the magazine and be like, oh God, on the 27th, someone's going to break my heart. It's only the first. What am I going to do? So, but when we discovered the actual birth chart, so to answer your question, when you read a magazine, you're just reading what's called your sun sign horoscope or your zodiac sign, which is plenty interesting. And there's lots of fodder there. But what we learned by mistake that changed our lives probably 30 years ago was that at your moment of birth, if you were to look up at the sky overhead and take a screenshot of it, the arrangement of the planets based on where you were born, at that second, it gives you a map. It gives you an entire map of your strengths, your weaknesses, your tendencies, and that's called your birth chart, which, Camilla, I just read yours for the first time the other day. So, yeah. And so when my college boyfriend got me a birth chart for our 21st birthday,
because I grabbed
our birth chart, because we're
that's right. So you can be like mine too. Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
You're going to share that one with me.
Yes.
Yeah. And
that's
yeah, and that's when it was like, oh wow, there's a whole lot more to this. That's when I went from being like, yeah, whatever. That was interesting and entertaining to like, oh, whoa, who has someone been spying on me? I need to know
Yeah,
more about this. Yeah.
And
that's so cool.
how do you guys study for something like this? How do you learn to read a chart, basically?
I mean, there's books and then there's field research because as soon as you start, we found out that, we are Sagittarius, but the moon sign was what, you can take it one piece at a time because every planet, we think of the planets as the cast of characters in the movie of everyone's life. So the sun is the main character, gives you your main character energy. Venus would be your romantic lead. The moon is your best supporting. It's how you take care of yourself. So if you kind of start with your sun sign and your moon sign, which is how we kind of began our obsession because Sagittarius sun, but moon, which is the inner nature, our moon was in the Scorpio part of the sky when we were born. And that explained so much because while we are outgoing and media lovers and all that, we also have this like mystical, introverted, part of ourselves that likes to go deep. And that was so just kind of asking all of our friends their moon signs. And there's apps like CoStar out there now that kind of do that for you, or you can look at your friend's chart. It's so nice to have Yeah, we didn't have that
Mm.
then.
Wide world because you can, but it's a lot of what we started, kind of tracking celebrities. We noticed that like a lot of the divas were Aries, Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, Mariah Carey, Jill Scott, Lady Gaga. There's just this,
Mm.
you start to see this similarity. And, a lot of Virgos too are kind of like those mystical pop stars too, but in a more like, they're not like big hair on, a Vegas stage like an Aries, or more like Beyonce, Shania Twain, Pink. Like they're going to give you a
Amy Winehouse. Yeah.
yeah. So it's
Mm.
those, you just start to see the patterns, and being a little, we may or may not have, I may or may not have counted the tile patterns on our childhood bathroom shower stall. There was like one that skipped two. Anyways, that
We
was
have
kind of
weird
mine. That in
brains,
this, yeah, you have to have a little bit of
pattern brains.
a
Yeah.
pattern brain, to.
Okay,
So for people who are interested in it and but just coming to it, the your zodiac sign is, so mine's Leo, hers is Sagittarius. Then the birth chart then explains further again the snapshot of the sky in the moment that you were born,
Mhm.
wherever you were born. Um, is there a big difference, or is it just like you open the aperture more? Like you like you're always a Leo, but when you do a birth chart, you just get a bigger picture of
I
everything.
think
So
Yeah.
I think of it is your sun sign. Leo makes you blue, but all the other planet, because that is like the sun is the center of it all. That's your personality. But then all the planets, and they tint it. They'll make you light blue or periwinkle or navy,
Mm-hmm.
and it
Right.
colors you. And you could also break it down to different areas of life too, because you always bring Leo main character energy everywhere you go, but in an like a close family moment, your moon will take over. When you're on a date, Venus will take over. When you're shopping, Venus will take over. When you need to like hunker
Hmm.
down and be motivated, Mars. So you can kind of think of each of the planets as an ally. And when you learn what sign each one is in, you can use it to energize that area of your life.
So everyone's very different. Yeah. I mean, no two Leos really are like, even us as identical twins, 4 minutes apart, have like some slight variations.
Mhm.
Interesting. So I heard that your sun sign is what your outer presentation sign to the world, and your moon signs your inner. Is how would you
Yeah.
describe the difference? I've heard it described different ways. How would you guys describe that?
The rising sun is really the main outer, but the sun is like, yeah, the basic
Wait, the
self.
rising is your main outer? I thought your sun.
No, the rising sign is how you present yourself. So you're a Scorpio
Oh.
rising.
I
So
am.
so you would come across a little more intense and observant than like a Leo who might have a Leo rising. Camilla, you have a Leo rising, so you're going to be more exuberant and open and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
So
But the sun is who is the basic nature of who you
Sun
are.
is how you shine in the world. It's your energy source. And the moon is maybe how you recharge yourself. The moon is if, the sun is the car, the moon is the recharging station. I don't
Or
know.
the engine. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
not a really
And
good metaphor. I'm confusing us, but it's your
no,
inner
no, no. No,
nature.
that makes sense. And then your rising is
How you present yourself, your first impressions. The rising sign really, so if the birth chart looks like a pizza, right? So, or a clock divided into 12. And the 9 o'clock point, whatever zodiac sign is crossing through there or is on the horizon when you're born. So when you were born, Jessica, the Scorpio piece of the sky was the one that was on the eastern horizon. And it kind of is like how you dawn in the world, how you
mm.
wake up to the world. And for you, Camilla, it was Leo. So it's just, it's kind of like the rising sign isn't really important too. It's just you have to have your birth time to know it. And so a lot of people are saying you should read your rising sign. And I'm like, well, that leaves 50% of the world out of astrology. And that's not fair.
I mean, what's the most challenging sign?
Who's got the worst reputation?
Gemini's.
Mhm.
Gemini, Capricorn, Scorpio. I have the most complaints about, especially the men.
Oh my God, I'm
Mm.
married to a Gemini man.
I know, a lovely one too, but
He is sweet.
you know,
Wait, Jessica, what's Christopher's sign? Now I have to know.
Aries.
Oh, Aries.
That happens a lot with Leo. Two fire signs, yeah.
Mhm.
Little power struggle, but fun.
I'd say there's you could say there's a challenging tendency to every sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I asked for that. When Ophi was there, I was like, we were talking about my husband, like what's like really challenging about him.
Mhm.
And it was like, for Aries. So you can say, what are the challenging parts of Aries?
We're saying that Aries, they're very dynamic, but they can be really entitled too. So
And they
Yeah.
won't
So
give you attention on demand, but they'll want attention on demand. It's
Oh,
like,
that's so funny.
Anyway, so I was saying, okay, great, that's all fine and good, but let's be fair. Like, I don't just want the good about me, right? Like, what can be my weak spots? And you said,
oh, as a Leo.
yeah,
Yeah.
Leo's definitely same thing with similar to Aries, but even more. Leos need a lot of interactivity. They need a lot of like into me, I see intimacy sometimes. It's like
Yes.
not everyone can handle that level of like enthusiasm. Like if someone doesn't match the Leo's mood, it can be crushing when they're excited or they want to play. Our mom is a Leo. She wanted to go, she was like, okay, girls, what are we doing? Are we going horseback riding or roller skating? I mean, great mom, great. Couldn't, but sometimes you just want to read a book. And it was like she would just be so hurt when we just didn't want to play,
Didn't want to be Girl Scouts in high school, whatever, stuff like that.
She did try to make us do
you
that.
talked about your mom enough for me to feel like I love her.
Oh yeah, she's great. She's
Wonderful.
great. Leo, those of us with Leo moms are very lucky, but yes.
I have a controversial question.
Ooh,
I
please.
heard, and I'm asking this not knowing the answer, but I remember reading it, that most serial killers have a common sign. Do you guys
I
have
heard it was our sign.
Sagittarius?
No, I think it's Scorpio. It's Scorpio.
I recently heard it was Sag, though, actually.
Oh, there's a debate. So my rising is a Scorpio, and my mom is a Scorpio, and someone told me that quite often your rising will be your mother's sign. Is that true?
I'm not sure if that happens because it changes every 2 hours, but if it is your mother's sign, you will look like her. You probably do.
Oh,
that's fun.
yeah. Yes, 100%. That's
Yeah.
so
Interesting.
crazy.
The moon
Mhm.
in the
Interesting.
chart represents the mother and the sun, the father, by the way. So that's another way of looking at
Oh,
it too. Like your relationship with your mother can be defined by your moon sign and your relationship with your father by your sun sign. So it's funny, our dad is a landscaper and he's a Sagittarius like us, but as you
Not a
know,
serial killer.
not a serial killer, definitely, unless you're like somebody's lawn in Detroit, Michigan.
If you're a weed, he's a serial killer. But,
Yeah.
how can you use, before we get into like some fun things about what we discovered in our charts, how do you guys, we can look at like, the when we were born, but how do you use it moving forward? How do you use it moving forward? How does it help you? How does it,
I mean, there's two ways to use
okay.
it. You can use it as a psychological or personality profile of yourself, just your chart. And then you can use it as a cosmic weather vane or planning tool where you take your chart, because your chart never moves, and you compare it with the planets in the past, present, or future to see, oh, why did that happen that way back then? Or, a month from now, I have an audition or I have this project. What should I look for? What might be happening? You can see where certain energies are going to be available to you.
And we talked about when you were doing the chart, it was mentioned Mercury in retrograde, right? Which we all
Mhm.
Oh,
hear.
yes.
What exactly
Gets
does
blamed
that
for everything.
mean? Yeah, why
Yes.
does it get blamed for everything? What exactly does it mean?
Yeah, well, Mercury passes the Earth in its orbit 3 times a year. It takes 88 days to go around the sun. So it's zipping around super fast. And so when it passes us, it is like that optical illusion of two trains passing each other at different speeds, and one appears to go backwards. It's not really moving backwards, but in from our vantage point here on Earth, it's moving backwards through the zodiac, through the sky. And so it's almost like so Mercury is in charge of data, information, scheduling, our communication, our mobile devices. So those types of things go haywire. They tend to go backwards. Like old friends will show up. You'll get a text from an ex. You'll get like a car. You'll have to go fix your car. You'll have to, your schedule for your flight gets canceled and changed. So it does tend, I think retrogrades are moments where we're supposed to hit pause, but no one likes to do that. We're all like, go, 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 go. So knowing when a Mercury retrograde is coming is helpful because then, like we're both going to LA, tomorrow. So we're going to have to get on planes. I'll be leaving early, extra early for the airport, just in case.
Just like Camilla's dad, he likes to get there 5 hours early.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Now that's a little
It'll be a 2 coffee morning for you.
He's always in retrograde.
Well, you told me he was a Taurus and they hate to be late. They
Oh,
are
really?
punctual to a fault. So that tracks with his sign totally.
Okay, that's
Mhm.
really funny.
Uh-huh.
So you guys navigate your life looking at the charts to sort of make sense of things.
Hmm.
we're looking at the movement of the planets
Okay.
anytime. And you don't need to know your whole chart. We can do it with just your sun sign. It means it's great when you can look at your whole chart, but also simply knowing your sun sign, you can get so much information. Look, we don't, maybe it's, being a risk-taking Sagittarius, but if a Scorpio or Capricorn showed up over and over again and wanted to date, even though it was terrible every time before, would still go for it with hope.
It's like you read the warning label, but you might still ingest,
Right.
Okay.
because, it tastes good, even if it's bad for
You
you.
have to keep living your life. You
Yes,
can't,
of
like go
course.
hide in a cave, but you can plan or just make room for the fact that there might be some little, especially near eclipses. Eclipses I think, are the new
Mm.
Mercury retrograde, and almost a little bit more intense. Like they always come in pairs, 2 weeks apart, and the eclipse corridor, as it's called, the window between them can be really intense. There's another one coming up from September 17th to October 2nd this year. So
Oh my God, that's a long corridor.
it is.
Yeah, they're always 2 weeks apart, the
Oh
eclipses. It's like a
man.
new moon and a full moon. So, yeah.
Ah,
But there's
okay.
moments of change. I guess, people, we don't like to change. We typically will avoid some of the necessary changes. We'll make other changes, but the eclipses and Mercury retrogrades come and make us confront the things that maybe we're avoiding.
We get into our own charts and our own
Yeah.
readings with you. I want to hear about Camilla. I
Absolutely.
think Camilla needs to go first.
Let's get into our charts and just share a couple things with the Call It crew. Whose is this? Oh, this is me.
This is
Okay.
you. And so we did a little reading that Jessica hasn't heard the details of, but so here's that 9 o'clock rising sign in Leo, moon in
Mhm.
Aries. So you have your triple fires, Sag, Sun, Leo rising, Aries, moon.
It's not
And
shocking.
Oh, that's serious. Sagittarius there.
and look at
Wow.
all that Sag there. You've
What does
got
that mean if you are a triple fire sign? What does that mean if
It
someone
means
is
you're
that?
you. It means you're a fucking pain in the ass sometimes, but you're also fiery and awesome.
Can we mute
Yeah.
Jessica while they tell us?
Means you don't like to walk far distances in foreign cities.
When I need to pee. Anyway, ignore her. For anyone else that is a triple fire, what does that mean?
Yeah, well, you're passionate, you're excited, you're impatient. You're always fun, but yes, maybe some people will find you exhausting at times. Others, a party always waiting to happen, ready to, touch the hot stove and then realize you burned yourself later.
I love a burn. All right. So here's where I got a little creeped out.
Yeah.
I not creeped out. Oh, wait, hang on. We have info.
Oh, serial killer updates?
Capricorn.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, Marilyn Manson, R. Kelly,
Oh,
they're
wait,
not
no.
serial
On the
killers.
other
No.
hand, serial killers
Oh,
born
no?
under the sign of Capricorn had the highest number of victims. Oh, great.
They're the most effective at killing people.
But the four signs are Pisces, Cancer, Sagittarius, and Scorpio account for the most, which is 40% of serial killers.
Wow. All three water signs and then us. Well.
Yeah.
Those
Well,
waters, I can
well,
see water
well.
signs being serial
Oh
killers.
my God.
Why would you
yes.
say that? That's really funny because people who are water signs listening will want to know why.
I think they bottle up their emotions.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
interesting.
quietly observing you and waiting to suck your soul. No.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
We're not talking about the non-serial killer water signs.
Yeah.
We love you, but the ones
Yes.
that are definitely
Wow.
like those, what lies beneath in the depths of their souls
I feel
and
like they could
psyches.
also get their feelings hurt as children and develop, this like,
Oh, yeah.
will avenge everyone as an adult.
Oof.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Parents
Okay.
of water signs. Treat
Okay,
your
so
kids
triple
right.
fire.
So triple fire, but I want to talk about the part that gave me pause, which you know
Mhm.
what it is. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So this was the night I was born, everybody. And
Yep.
then you got to the fourth, what is it called?
The fourth house. So these
house.
little, as we call them, slices of pizza that your chart is divided up into, each represent a different area of your life. And the fourth house is the family and especially the mother.
And Scorpio, right?
And yeah, and you've got 3 planets in Scorpio there. So
So my mother's sign was Scorpio.
your mother's sign was Scorpio. We have Pluto, which is a planet that can rule death in some cases, death, addictions, other kind of intense, shadowy things. We've got Saturn, which is like a kind of a heavy thing. And there it can indicate a heavy thing happening in childhood. And then Mars, which is surgery. And you told me that your mom died from complications to surgery.
Right. So in the mother house, Scorpio, we have death and surgery.
Wow, that's
And that was
amazing.
a really intense thing to see on my birthday.
How old were you?
I was 19. So I mean, I felt like a kid still, but legally an
You were a
adult.
kid.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
But that
Wow.
was just like really blew my mind because I hadn't even mentioned any of that to her at
No.
all. And
Wow.
she was like, this is surgery, this is death, this is Scorpio, this is mother. And I was like,
Oh my God.
it's really
Yeah, it's really
it's
wild.
a
Wow.
moment for me, to be honest, to see that.
Yeah.
And then we have Pluto here with this red line that's indicates a relationship between the planets opposite the moon. And the
As a
moon is also
mother.
associated with the mother in Aries, which is very independent. So you had to become independent. And also it's in the 10th house where your moon is the father house. So that could indicate your dad taking on the role of the mom or you having to mother yourself.
Or take care of your dad almost a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Okay, and then what is the 11th house for me? I forget what that one is again.
That is groups and friends, and you had your North Node, your destiny, and Gemini. And then also Chiron, the wounded healer, and Taurus, which is your dad's sign. So indicating like, a wound experienced when you
Yeah.
were, in your childhood, but
Yes.
also um, being very lucky with the Gemini North Node there in a group, like an ensemble cast or with a group
Mm,
and all the things you guys do with your fans as well. So
very
And also
cool.
looking at all those Sagittarius planets down there in your fifth house, which rules fame and Hollywood, and you have the
love.
sun and lucky Jupiter right next to it. So, like, I mean, you are naturally probably a very lucky person, or you can make your own luck in a way. It's not like you just sit back but you will go after what you want and
Hmm.
you're not afraid to
Hmm.
pursue.
Yeah. 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 I do feel that way, actually. I've
Yeah.
learned to think of myself as lucky because I feel like because of my mom, I felt very unlucky. And then I've since really understood how lucky I am in so many other
Mhm.
ways in my life. So this makes sense.
And it can be both, in
Yeah, yeah, of
astrology,
course.
like,
I mean, yeah,
and then you can really see that.
yeah, yeah,
But the Scorpio, those planets and that particular combination of them is hard. It is challenging. And then the set, so that's I think what made astrology really interesting to us because we have a lot of Sag and Scorpio too, and there's such different energies. And
interesting.
yeah, we're taught to kind of look for like, oh, I'm this way and this is this one way that I am, but nobody really is. We can contain not only multitudes, but a lot of contradictions and complexities. So I felt like when
Yeah.
I saw my chart, it gave me permission to be, yeah, I maybe have this dark side, but then I have this really light side too. And just you can be all of those things in different parts of your life. And I think you are probably with your family, it's heavier, but with friends and love and your career, it's exciting and fun, and you see a lot of possibilities.
I have one last question. Does this luck for me continue through my life?
If you broaden it's kind of like if you want to be lucky for anyone, look at your Jupiter. But your Jupiter, this little four symbol, it's down here right next to your sun. I don't know if you can see my arrow or not, but the
Yeah.
sun and Jupiter next to each other, somebody who like when you decide to shine and turn on your lights and be like, "Hi, I'm here. I'm going to do something bold and daring." And oftentimes you might be lucky since Jupiter's in Sagittarius in when you're traveling, when you're in studying, when you're out of your comfort zone, actually. Like you can come to life when you're not in your familiar surrounding and make everyone else feel comfortable and then just shine. Like you might maybe like you've never met a stranger, I would imagine. Like
Jessica, did you feel like I shined in Paris for you?
Camilla, there's not a time where you don't shine in my eyes.
I would actually right now Saturn Is the planet, are you like a little exhausted from traveling right now? Or
I
like
am so
you just
exhausted.
don't want to travel right now, probably.
No, I don't want to travel. My husband is traveling, so I wish that no one was traveling right now.
Yeah, your
Mhm.
Saturn, it's not shown here, but Saturn, which is kind of wherever it kind of
I can show.
weighs you down. Yeah, it is in your ninth house of travel right now, and it will
Okay.
be for like a few years, a couple years. Next 2 years, you will feel more like,
She'll just be
Okay.
tired. I can't.
uh,
I can't. I can't. It's not the time, guys. It's
No,
not
you're
the
going to be
time.
traveling for work mostly more than
You know
fun.
what? The power of your mind is really important. Can you just switch up those planets for me, will you? Give her a different picture.
See, Jess, I told you I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, by the way, you know what? Okay. So I would like to get on
Okay.
to me now because I'm a
Yes,
Leo.
of course. Get the Leo.
And just before you wrap out on Camilla, and maybe as the first thing you can say about me, I just would love to know because we talk about what we are as in our the year of, right? So what year is Camilla?
Oh, right. She is pig, the pig. You're the water pig.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. The what kind of pig?
The water pig.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
a wet
Like a
pig.
wet bacon. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You're
Jessica's such
tired?
an
Wet
asshole.
bacon.
I'm going to tell you why. Because Jessica asked me what I was, and I told her I was a pig. And she's bringing it up so everyone else knows I'm a pig because Jessica's some fucking peacock. What are you? What are you
Dragon.
again?
I'm a mythical, magical dragon.
And I'm a fucking soggy ass pig.
We're drowned rats right there with you. Wet water
Uh-huh.
rats.
So rude. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But wait,
Yeah.
isn't there
Yeah.
something even more about my dragon? Aren't I like a fire dragon or something?
Yes, you are.
Oh, I'm a fire
You're a
dragon.
fire dragon. You
Oh,
are.
I can help dry you off.
How do the fire dragons and the soggy pigs how do they get along? They have a lot of can I ride her?
Yes, you
You
can.
can. You can.
Hop on.
Hop on. We'll fly away. Well, the pig is associated with Pluto. So each of
Yeah.
them have a planet. So, and Pluto's we didn't say nice things about Pluto, but Pluto's super intense. Pigs are very charismatic. They're lucky though.
Yeah.
No, they are. I think pigs are so, so, so cute and charming and
Yeah.
adorable. Yes, I agree. I told you there's nothing about you that's not the
Yes,
shiniest.
exactly.
Shiniest wet pig I ever saw. I just didn't realize the
Exactly.
shine was that really a glisten.
It's a glisten.
For all those glistening pigs out there, just know that we're amazing.
You are not alone.
Okay,
That's
come
right.
on then. Get on to Jess's chart.
Bacon is served with everything for a reason.
Exactly.
What would be the quick snapshot of Jessica Capshaw?
Yeah, I know. Let's come on. I want to see.
Well, this is a great time to demonstrate the system that's in our new book, the I Am system, where we take your chart, put it in a blender, and make you one of three archetypes: innovator, authority, or maven. And because I made you a report and I have it here. So why don't we show a new way of looking at the chart? You can also look at your chart as a spreadsheet too. So you can see where all the planets were, like fire, earth, air, and water. And then we call innovator, authority, and maven. And those are the innovators are the starters of things. The authorities are the ones that hold down the fort, build. And then the mavens are the ones that are fun and playful and out there. So Camilla, you're a maven. And
Makes sense. Yeah.
Jess, you're 8 of your 13 are authority. So you have 1 innovator, 8
So
authority,
fun.
and
Also
4
makes
maven.
sense.
Yes.
And mostly earth in your chart too, even
Mhm.
though
Very
you're a
grounded.
Leo. Yeah, super
Yeah.
grounded.
Yeah, and we have a little calculator if anyone wants to find out what theirs is, astrostyle.com/IAM, where you can go and
This is
do
amazing.
the little
Yeah.
put in your birth data. So you're what we call the Earth Authority. So it has a name. So you're the provider. You're dependable and responsible with a strong sense of duty toward providing for yourself and your loved ones, practical and grounded in your approach to life. So going to Paris with the Maven, I can only imagine. You're like you know.
I just follow her.
Because I'm the authority.
Yeah,
Yes.
the authority makes the plans, you know.
Yeah.
I'm low on innovator. Where's Camilla and on the innovator?
I will find out, but I think she was
No, it's
mostly
okay.
Maven. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
okay. No, Jane don't need to do that. Okay.
Yeah,
So
don't take away from you.
So I think what we need to take away from this is that I'm an authority. I almost said the authority, by the way, but it's just an authority.
Well, there's a V-ness to it. It's true. You're very high on authority, low on innovator, high on earth, and low on air. So when you're low on air, you need an oxygen tank, haha. But no, when you're low on air, you like things, you're not always quick to change, or you may be a little reserved about communicating, sharing your ideas and opinions. You want them to be well informed before you do. When you do, when you do speak, you have a strong message, but air is about the winds of change. So you may not like change as much. It might make you nervous when things aren't kind of settled beyond a certain point with low air in your chart. So, but yeah, you have a good amount of Virgo too. You've got Mercury, Venus, and Mars in Virgo. So that's communication and love. So you're very responsible and analytical, maybe a little critical sometimes, but in a loving, well-meaning way. You can always see how
Helpful.
yeah, you can see how the friends and family can, do better or improve. And you probably like self-improvement yourself. So does that track for you?
Yep. All of that tracks.
The moon in Aquarius is good though. So the moon, so Aquarius is the opposite sign of Leo. So you were born on a full moon. So Leo is the heart and Aquarius is the head. So but the moon is your emotion. So it's kind of funny because when the moon's in this heady, not heart kind of place, then you can also be you can step back from your feelings. Like even though this is where reading about a Leo, just being a Leo, you might be like, no, I'm not really like that. Because you might read, oh, Leos are dramatic. You not so much, because that Aquarius moon would give you the ability to be like, let me step back and be reasonable and look at this objectively. So that would be a tendency that you would have.
Well, this tracks as well.
If anything, you might actually need to push yourself to be a little more Leo-y. You have, and funny enough, you also have Saturn, which is where we are reserved and may hold ourselves back in Leo. So you're very restrained Leo. It's all over your chart. Sometimes you'll see it in one place, but sometimes a theme will pop up in a lot of different places. So, you have this very pragmatic side. And I think for you, having only one innovator planet, like pushing yourself to try new things and get out of a comfort zone and use your imagination a little bit. I think acting is probably extremely healing for you because it lets you get away from those voices in your head that tell you that you have to be serious about everything. It allows you a sort of escape.
Is acting then hard for Jess?
No, I think it's not.
So not, I'm just wondering. That just came up for me just now when you said that.
You can make it hard. I would say there's a lot.
There
are a lot of things that would be easier for you if you would just allow them to come naturally. But I think that you make them hard.
Are you an over rehearser? Do you over rehearse or overthink things a little bit?
I like to be prepared.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. The authority is going to be like, yeah, you want perfect.
I like to be prepared.
Yeah.
I do.
Yes.
You like others around you to be prepared, shall we say, as well?
I do. I really do. Yes, I have. That's where I can get very impatient when other people are not prepared. Whew.
Isn't this so crazy, Jess?
It's so crazy. Crazy. Well, I'm so happy that you guys came on.
And we got to talk about your book real quick because this has been such a wild experience for both of us. So for people to find you, where can they find you? What is your book called? How can they see their chart too?
Start book right here. Of course, I've been doing all kinds of social media. So I have it right next to me. It's called the Astrology Advantage. Use your chart for personal and professional success. It basically turns your chart into what we're showing, like an archetype, so that you can, and then teaches you how to, basically use it to hack your life in every way, how to set up your office for maximum productivity, how to manage time, you know, how to plan a date that is successful, how to
How to
communicate
build a
with
team,
somebody.
how to
Yeah.
communicate with people who are
Okay.
different than you. So, but we're also, if you want to do like straight up astrology, come to astrostyle.com, follow us at Astro Twins on Instagram, and we're always doing all kinds of things, teaching people astrology and writing books and making forecasts. Yep.
Incredible. You guys, thank you so much for coming on. This has been such a fun episode, such an incredible experience. I'm going to get all the books. I already follow you guys on Instagram. And
So
thank you
do
for
I.
explaining all the things to our listeners because they might have been like me and really not known a lot. And I learned so much.
Oh, good,
By
good,
your
good.
side.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thanks
I
for having
know.
us.
And safe travels to you guys, and we'll have you guys on again. So,
Yay.
well,
We need you
definitely.
closer to the
I
election.
know. Let's do some
Yes.
predictions in
Yes. As we
2025 and everything.
Yes.
Love it.
There's a
Yes,
lot going
please.
on.
I love it.
To.
All right.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Jess.
you.
Thank you,
Awesome.
guys.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Opie. Bye, Tally.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. So you are a fiery, soggy pig, and I
Yeah.
am a fiery, fiery dragon.
Yeah. It's fine.
Which would you rather be?
Well, I'm embracing what I am, Jess.
I think you should, because you know what? I love you, little wet pig.
I know. I have to say before we go, I went into this, and I'm sure a lot of people, listening to this, I went into it, excited, also potentially skeptical. But there was so much that listening for both of us that I was
Yeah.
like, this is crazy. So I encourage you guys, if you guys are interested in this stuff too, and you're curious, check out everything that they're doing.
I really do think they know exactly what they're doing.
These are the girls, these are the ladies that know their stuff.
Yeah. And not that this makes them better, but man, oh man, are they fancy. I mean, I won't say who, but I know whose house she came from before she came to mine. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I did like that I'm gonna be tired for the next 2 years.
That, by the way, did not, I want to erase that part from your memory because I don't need a tired, wet pig.
It makes so much sense.
No, I do not need you to be further into your fatigue.
There's a lot of coffee in my future.
Well, I love this. I love having people who are experts on things, and
Yes.
these two know what they're talking about. So this was fun.
Yeah, and learning about this stuff for me for the first time with the crew was really exciting. Good experience.
I know. I love it. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to Call It What It Is. We will call it the end of the episode.